Guys, what's up? Your girl G here. Welcome back to my channel. So it looks like we possibly are going to be adding another show to the roster, you guys, the review list. This past Monday, the Family Chantel came back on. I watched the first season, didn't review it, but after watching this first episode last night, I think I'm going to add it to the review list because we actually got some more stuff we need to talk about anyways. All the shows are coming to an end. So I think the Family Chantel is going to make it to the roster, as well as depending on how it goes, we may possibly review Real Housewives of Orange County. You know, I love a good bougie white bitch, you know, show, watching white women cry about stuff that they don't need anyways. So yeah, if y'all feel like Real Housewives of Orange County should be added to the list as well, drop down in the comments to let me know. But as of right now, the Family Chantel has definitely made it to the roster. Okay, guys? And after this, we're going to get into an episode of Daily Squeeze because it's been a minute since we've had one of those, okay? It's a lot of shit to catch up on. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into this episode. It was a lot that went on, but kind of not a lot because, of course, they are, you know, just giving the re-up on everything that happened this past season and kind of where everybody's at right now. So speaking of that, let's go ahead and get into it, you guys. If you are new to my channel, appreciate you for tuning in. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can become a member of the Juice Box crew, okay? How my other Jujus doing out there in my little juice world? How are my Jujus feeling? Shoot, my neck is freaking hurting. Have you ever like woke up with a crick in your neck and like you turn the wrong way to host our pension? That's been happening to me. And it ain't cool. It's like giving me a headache too. But let me try to push through and get this review to you guys, okay? So basically we open up the episode with everybody, you know, kind of giving the backstory where they're at right now. We see all the mess that happened with Chantel and Pedro going to the Dominican Republic and dealing with Nicole and the mama, basically causing hell with the mom, calling them stupid Americans. Like, it was a lot. But now we see that Chantel, she's still in nursing school. Pedro finally got him a job. He's working, you know, I guess in the back stocking stuff. And he eventually says that he doesn't want to do that forever. He eventually wants to open up a school. I think that's what he said. So, yeah, they're trying to do a lot better. It seems like things have calmed down with Pedro and the family. Right now, they're just kind of maintaining the whole cordial aspect. But things are definitely going to get a lot more intense from the look of the season because Chantel is not going to sponsor Pedro's family. He says that he wants his family to come to America. She like, nope, not on duty, not going to happen. I would not have his mom and sister living in my apartment for 24 hours of miserableness and them trying to ruin my marriage. And I get it. Like, is it messed up? Yeah. I mean, Pedro, come on, bro. Like, the way that your sister especially, like, tried to sabotage y'all's relationship with bringing that little Corona girl, Karaima, whatever you want to call her, she was intending on effing up you and Chantel's marriage. We saw what you did last season, Pedro, dancing with her, had her all up in your lap and stuff like that, and then the sister was just over there encouraging it, and then you want to bring that into my home? Like, no, I can see exactly where Chantel is coming from. Pedro, if you want to bring them, you better find them an apartment and make sure they have their own apartment because they will not be staying here, especially after what they did. I get it. I totally get it. But of course, Pedro feels like it's just like, oh, you know, she's being petty. She hates my family. Like, and that's what makes the drama even worse. So this season, a new aspect is coming into play because Royal, the older brother, is coming back from Texas with his now wife. Like, he has a wife from the Philippines. I think her name is Anjanette. I think that's what it is. And it's kind of causing a little, we'll say like a little rift because Pedro and Chantel feel like Royal and Anjanette aren't getting the same treatment that they had when Pedro came. And the family had to explain it's totally different because the mom, in the confessional, Chantel was like, I don't understand why, you know, when Pedro came, like, he got the 3rd degree. Our family just wasn't treating him, you know, the way they're treating Anjanette. And the mom had to let her know. She's like, one, because y'all came under false pretenses, okay? At least Royal was upfront with the fact that, okay, you know, this is a woman that I want to marry. You didn't tell your family, Chantel, and honestly, I kind of feel like that was the catalyst of why y'all's relationship with the family didn't go so well. Because Pedro told you, go ahead and tell your family that we're getting engaged or married, but you didn't want to do that. So honestly, Chantel, you can play a big part in that, into why it started off all wrong. And then she was like, then, and Jeanette, from what they know, the family didn't sit there and try to hunt, you know, an American down and find a person for their child. It's looking like, you know, his sister and his mama like had a plan to find a woman else from America to help them basically buy stuff in the Dominican Republic, set them up nice, and send them back and forth to Dominican Republic and America. So then Chantel kind of just like stuck there like long-lipped because her mama was like, checkmate, bitch. Like, try to sit there and try it. It's a big difference. It's totally a huge difference. But I can still understand why Chantel is hesitant because, I mean, from the Philippines, they are known to like the Latin, the Asian, the Europe type countries, the Russians, German, like those type of countries are just very much well known to try and make their way to America. And that's what's happening. I don't think from what we see of Anjanette that she's not coming across as it's her only goal to get to America. Like, that's the vibe I'm getting from her for right now. But, you know, only time will tell. So Royal's finally coming. Winter, you guys, is back at the house after finding out the whole situation with Ja. She was staying with Ja, but found out that nigga had a whole nother kid. Okay, and didn't tell Winter at all. And apparently he was going back and forth between the baby mama's house and Winter to see like the kid and wasn't saying nothing, which also makes me feel like Ja was probably still messing around with the baby moms. So now she moved back home, but she's kind of, you know, making little comments like, oh, I felt more at home with Ja than I do here. And, you know, right now it's just a process of me trying to, like, you know, basically get back to her. So they're setting up the birthday party for Royal. He, I guess, is in Texas with Anjanette, and he's like some type of surgical technician. So he's got some smarts. He's trying to figure out something, you know, big with his life. And Chantel and Pedro, they actually went to go get him a gift, and she wants to buy him like a guitar. I guess he likes music, and Pedro's feeling some type of way, like, oh, you can get your brother gifts, but I can't get my sister and mom stuff. Pedro, do not try to compare the two. A birthday gift and just sending unnecessary shit over to the Dominican Republic, like big ass TVs and curling irons and laptops and perfumes and clothes and stuff. No, it's not the same thing. It is not the same thing at all. Miss me with that, Pedro. Like, you, and like he's being super petty. Well, if you do this, then I can send them this. Or he went to the Philippines only once, and we went to the DR like 6 or 7 times. Like, it was just so petty. And it's like, Pedro, you keep trying to make this point like, oh, you're buying your brother a gift and I'm not saying anything. Come on, do better than that, Pedro. Do better than that, because you have sent your sister and mom stuff that cause you to neglect the stuff that's going on back at home with Chantel. Like, apples to oranges. So she gets him the guitar. They go to the birthday party. You know, he's able to give a handshake to, you know, the parents and River. Like, they're dapping each other up. And you can tell they've just finally slightly are making it over the hump just a tad. But the wrong thing can happen and they can revert right back to where it was, because, you know, he doesn't always go to every, you know, family function. The mom and dad talk about how, you know, they've invited him places and he still don't come. And sometimes I be laughing because in the confessional, like, when the mama be going off, you can tell the dad just be sitting there like, here we go again. This bitch keep talking like, I love my wife, but god dang, she be saying some crazy shit out her mouth. So everybody's there. They surprise Royal. He comes in with Anjanette, and he's like super robotic, very surgical technician-ish, where they are just, you know, monotone, right to the fact. Like, the way he was talking, he definitely isn't comfortable around the cameras. And Jeanette's super shy, so it's gonna take her a minute to, get comfortable with the family and have just, normal conversation with them. And Chantel's feeling like, well, every time I talk to her, she's really quiet. She's shut down. And, how am I supposed to get to know her if we don't talk? And it's like, girl, it's not going to be immediately that somebody from out of the country is just going to meld into the family. So when Royal was there, what made me laugh is Pedro started asking questions like, oh, where did y'all meet? Who met who first? Oh, how many times did you go to the Philippines? And are you okay if she sends money back to the family? Do you know? And Royal was like, well, if she does send family back to the family, then I don't care. And it's none of anybody's business, whoever's asking. So basically, Roy was telling Pedro to shut the fuck up. Okay, quit asking me questions because it ain't none of your goddamn business. And so Pedro's sitting there talking to the brother River. First of all, River, I need you to do something with your hair. You look like you got shot out of electrical socket. Look like you stuck a scissor in a socket hole. But he's like, oh, Roy walks away. And he's asking him like, oh, what do you guys think, huh? And River's like, look, that's my older brother. Like, he ride, I ride too. I mean, I get that's your older brother, but you can still have common sense and question whatever your family is doing, or your brother or sibling, or like whatever they're doing. You're still allowed to question it just because their family, like you're just supposed to roll with it. Like, nah, I love you, sister, I love you, bro, but if you're doing something questionable, like, shit, I'ma ask, okay? But they can see right now Royal seems to be happy. He found this girl that wants to love on him, and his his squishy body. Then okay, so be it. He totally built like a polar bear, or like, real. You ever seen a man that's like big but still not big? Like, he's kind of low key that. So after that, Chantel and Winter invite Anjanette over to like a girls' night because they need to get to know her. The mom is just like, they're asking questions like, oh, how was it coming down here? Do you miss your family? Like, Chantel was like, I know Pedro, it was hard for him. And she's like, yeah, sometimes I do cry about it. And, I just kind of have to deal with it because they're not here. But, she wants to work on things, with the connection with the family, because the mom is like, well, you always got a family in us, you can call us, da-da-da-da. And you can tell it's pissing Chantel and Pedro off because they didn't get that same welcome. But it's like, girl, y'all lied to y'all parents the very first time that you brought Pedro up. So, and then to understand like what happened with, their family and stuff, like, there's going to be a lot of grudges held, and there's not going to be a lot of openness because of the situation with how everything worked out, Miss Chantel and Pedro. So they invite her out. She decides she wants to come out, and Chantel and Pedro actually end up leaving early. Pedro's in the car talking about, what do you think? And, Chantel's like, yeah, I just don't know about her yet. And he's like, oh, do you know that River said that she messaged him first? So Chantel's like, oh, it looks like she was, fishing for an American. And she's determined to basically prove her point of Anjanette's no good for Royal. Like, I think subconsciously she needs to find something wrong with the Royal and Anjanette situation, so the focus can no longer be on her and Pedro, for one. And two, she wants their process to be just as hard as it was for them, to feel better about herself, like to feel better about the situation that her and Pedro are in. It's like, oh, Royal came, it was so easy, they incorporated everything, the families get along, and over here we freaking having nuclear bomb explosions every 2 weeks. So speaking of Pedro's family, back in the DR, Miss Nicole looks like she found herself a nigga. His name is Alejandro, and he looked Metro AF. Like, the pictures he was taking with this weird eyebrow thing he was doing, trying to be the Rock, you could tell he really think he all that in a bag of chips, but he not. I'm sorry, bro. You really low-key just might be the crumb of a little Debbie cake. Like, you ain't really no snack like that. He just wasn't that cute to me. But she talking about she's in love, but she hasn't told her family yet. She needs to tell her mom. and they've seen each other. He's back in New York, and she's ready to get to America because I think she wants to do like journalism or something like that. So she's like, I want to go, and she's like, I'm in love, and she's talking to Karima while she's sitting there, you know, encouraging her friend on and stuff like that to find her some love. But she still needs to tell the mom and Pedro. So he's actually going to be coming to the DR, you know, later on in the season. But she calls Pedro and tells him, oh no, they're talking on the phone, and Pedro's talking to Nicole about the dude, I guess, or whatever. So yeah, Miss Nicole, she's gonna have to tell the mom about Mr. Alejandro, but the mom from the preview threw his shit out the door and broke his little, it's probably stinky ass perfume. So, while Nicole gets in the water, we see the girls' night finally with Anjanette and Chantel and Winter. She comes over and she's like, you know, I want to get to know the sisters, you know, that way I'm not alone here. And they get ready, they curl her hair, and she's talking about how Royal didn't want her to go originally and how he doesn't like her drinking that much to make sure she doesn't drink a lot. And then they're curling her hair, and she's like, yeah, Royal says I shouldn't curl my hair. And Chantel was like, my brother tells you to do all that stuff. And I'm like, oh, Royal, one of them sneaky, like, low-key crazy ones. Because on the outside, he don't look like he's one of those dudes, but he gonna be the silent but deadly mofo that people be worried about, you know, where they all nice on the outside, but that one little trigger come off and they done set the whole damn house on fire. So they get ready. Anjanette looks cute. Chantel looks cute. Winter, she looked cute. I didn't necessarily like the dress she had on. Like, I feel like it wasn't that befitting. But they go out to the club. So Anjanette is trying not to drink because she's like, Roy doesn't like me drinking. He doesn't want me to get drunk. And she's they're in the Uber together, and I guess he's texting her talking about, do you want me to come get you? And they're like, already? Like, girl, we didn't make it to the club yet. Like, can we do something first before he trying to talk about come get you? And so they make it in there, and she's super shy at first because, like, this isn't what she do. She's like, in the Philippines, like, we just chill. Like, we don't do the American club situation. But Chantel, her little sneaky behind, of all drinks to get Anjanette, she gets that heifer Long Island. And it's like, first of all, she's all but 75 pounds. Back to what I was saying. Boy, I tell you, Chica don't know how to be quiet. Alright, you guys, back to what I was saying. Of all things, Chantel gets Anjanette. She gets her Long Island iced tea. The heifer's all but 75 pounds, so if she drink half of it, like, she lit. And she was awkward dancing at first, being real quiet, but as the night went on, like, you could tell she was loosening up. Somebody else was loosening up a little bit too loose, though, with Chantel. Girl, you had your titties out. You had your cucaracha out, doing all that twerking and stuff like that. They had to pull your dress down. It just wasn't necessarily the best look, Chantel. Like, I get you want to go to the club and have a fun time. But I'm not going to lie. Like, you wasn't, you know, conducting yourself of a woman who's taken. We'll just put it that way. And taken, not in the aspect of, oh, the man controls her and, like, doesn't want her to do anything. It's just like, you know, when you have a spouse, you conduct yourself a certain way. So out of nowhere, when Anjanette's finally getting into the groove of things, guess who pops up? Royal's old Teletubby ass. He shows up to the club in his jacket, and everybody's like, what are you doing here? He's like, Anjanette, you weren't texting me, and are you drunk right now? And you could tell she was feeling it. You know, Anjanette was a little tipsy, okay? But the fact that Royal showed up and was like, you didn't text me back, you weren't saying anything, and I just need to make sure that you were okay, like, you're coming home with me. And Chantel chases him outside, and he's out, like, talking about, are you okay? Like, are you drunk? How many drinks did you have? And I'm like, Royal, do not be one of those niggas, okay, buddy? Like, why are you controlling her? The fact that she didn't message you back, maybe that she was having a good time. But the fact that you knew that she was with your sisters, like, you wouldn't think your sisters would be concerned for her like you would be concerned for her and want to make sure that she's okay on the night out. I'm just a little confused why you wouldn't trust Anjanette out with your own sisters. So Chantel chases them outside. He's like, you're welcome to come. It's cold outside. We're leaving. You know, the night is done. You know, she's ready to go home. And Chantel's like, no, I'm not ready to go home. I'm going back inside. And Jeanette is like kind of like stumbling. She gets in the car. And Roy's just looking at her and was like, what did you drink? And she's like, I didn't drink anything. But like all I had was what Chantel ordered me, a Long Island. And she was kind of like just kind of dozing off low key. And then Roy was like, oh, you don't need to be drinking like that. And he's like, you're a married woman. You should be conducting yourself a certain way. And he's like, you know, you need to be classy. Y'all, Royal Dog got his own goddamn sister. She said, you don't think Chantel's classy? And he paused and was like, no. I said, damn, like, Chantel, your own brother basically calling you a thought pocket. I was like, dang. So he's like, no, Chantel doesn't go out there and act classy. And so she was kind of just like, you know, going in and out while he's running his mouth about how, you know, she needs to like message him and reply to him and, you know, don't drink like that. And Chantel's kind of asking the same questions to me, like, what is going on to the fact that Royal doesn't even trust her out? Like, I feel like maybe she cheated on him. Maybe she was texting somebody else while messaging him. Apparently Chantel said something like that happened. So if that's true, like Royal, I think Royal also is a dude that never thought that he would be able to finally get a girl and marry. Like, you can tell he's not necessarily outgoing and super confident. So now the fact that he has this girl, he's gonna be that controlling nigga. Like, wherever she goes, I need to make sure I keep an eye on her so she doesn't possibly see somebody else that she thinks is better than me or, you know, cuter than, like, Royal definitely is showing some insecurities there. He's showing that he a little loco, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And from the preview that we see, when they later get to the Philippines too, he going off on the producer himself. So, y'all, the Family Chantel definitely was popping this episode, but I just feel so goddamn, I was humored when he did not say Chantel was classy. And just said, what, you don't think Chantel classy? He said, hell no. I said, damn, Chantel, your feelings gonna be hurt when you watch that shit back. But for the preview of next episode, I guess that's next episode, Winter called Chantel a bitch, a dumbass bitch or something like that. Like, I don't know what was going on in that situation. But y'all, tell me what you feel about this first episode. How do you feel about the family being more accepting of Anjanette compared to Pedro? Do you feel like there is a difference? How do you feel about Royal showing up to the club after he claimed that Anjanette wasn't texting him back? Like, was that concern or was that him just being crazy? I appreciate you for tuning in. Make sure before you go to like this video, subscribe to my channel. I will catch all you guys later. Deuces.